the place of a C language. In C++ we have a concept of binding, okay, whereas in C language we have got a concept of typecasting. Okay, we will see it. Okay, anyhow I'll tell you what is this binding, then we will look at the concept of typecasting, and then we need to move on to the next topic called the storage classes. But to understand the storage classes better, I need to introduce you only one operator called increment or decrement operator. Okay, so I'll explain the operator first, that is this two topics first, then at last I will come to this storage classes. This is the plan. Okay, this is the plan. So what we are going to see now, binding, then typecasting, then I'll introduce this increment and decrement operator. Okay, basically operators we have to study for entire C language. So in that I will introduce you today the increment and decrement operator, and then subsequently the other operators, then at last I will touch this topic of storage classes. Okay, so with this we will start our class today. Binding, it's very simple, students. The idea is very simple. Look at here. See, in our previous lab sessions, or whenever we are dealing with some kind of a program, we always initialize some variable which we want to do some computations inside the logic of the program. Okay, so like this, void main, then inside that declaration part, initially we have to declare all the variables that we require to be executed inside this portion. Okay, so for example, int abc comma sum is equal to sum is equal to a plus b, like this we would have defined. Now this sum is a variable, a is a variable, b is a variable, and all these variables have to be declared in this place. Okay, then after computing it, either we will be printing it to the user or printing into the file. Accordingly we will close the program. Okay, now when we are declaring a variable, look at here, first int a. Okay, a is simply declared, which means a will get its memory space in the memory of our computer. It will automatically, a space will get allocated for it. Okay, how much space? It depends upon the computer architecture. Sometimes it will be 2 bytes or else 4 bytes. Let's assume that is 4 bytes. So 4 byte of memory will get allocated for the variable a, that can hold integer value. For example, a round value 7, 6, 17, like that, some round value will be there. Okay, no fractions. Now similarly I have declared here int x variable, and I have assigned directly here a value x, 6 to it. So as soon as I declare a variable x, memory space will get allocated like this, and as soon as I initialize that x with the value 6, automatically that 6 will also get positioned to sit inside happily. Okay, inside that memory space. But after some time I may do some other operations, and after some times I may recompute this x or reassign this x with some other things. So instead of this, you can also think that x is equal to x plus 7, like this. So what is happening here? The previous value of x will be taken, and that will be added with this 7, and together that entire result will get again stored with the place where x got reserved its memory space. For example, in this place, previously I have allocated a 6, so 6 got inserted in this memory space, and later I am overwriting that 6 with 3. So in the place of 6, it get reassigned with 3, and then after that x plus 7, presently x value is 3, 3 plus 7 is 10, 10 plus 10, yeah, this 10 will get assigned to x. So this is finally at the end of the execution of the program, x is assigned with value 10. Now each and every time we are assigning a value to a variable, we are saying it as assigning like that. Okay, instead of saying it as assigning, we can also say that we are binding the value 6 to a variable x, We are binding the value 3 to a variable x. We are binding the value of 3 plus 7 to a variable x. I hope now you have understood the meaning of binding. Okay. Binding is nothing but a value got binded to this variable, so that then thereafterwards that particular value will be reflected in all the other places. Okay, that's all students. Go through it, ask me doubts if you have got. Simple. Fine. Okay, so probably I guess it may not be the topic that should be included in your C language, because such kind of a topic will not be as this much easy concept. No interesting thing is here. So this much easy the competitive exams as well. But one other topic is very much important, that is casting. Okay, casting. Here, technically in our subject, we will be studying about typecasting. Okay, casting is nothing but molding something to get into some shape. Okay, that is the general meaning. But here we will study a typecasting because we will refer this to a topic called data type of our C language. Data type of our C language. What's that? Molding to a specific data type. Molding something to a specific data type, that we will be learning. What is this? A typecast is basically a conversion from one type to another. For example, look at here. A float data type is there. Float x is equal to 17.3. Okay, int equal to x. Sorry, what to say? Wait a minute, students. Int y equal to x. See, usually x is a float data type. Look at here, x is a float data type. Okay, it says that x definitely should have some fractional numbers after the decimal point. So previously it was very happy. Now suddenly what happened? I have declared one new variable called y, and that new variable is of type integer, and to this integer I am taking the value of a float and I am assigning. Okay, so naturally what happens here, the fractional part what is stored here, that part will try to get adapt or will try to utilize the space of the integer. Okay, in float has got 8 bytes to memory space to store its value, whereas integer has got a 4 bytes of memory space to store its value. Now if we try to store a x value to y, which is of integer, whatever it can store it in this 4 byte memory space, that much only it will retain. Okay, that much only it will retain, which means that precision part, what is that? Fractional part will get terminated. Only 17 alone will get assigned to y. So if we do like this, only 17 alone will get assigned to y. Rest of the fractional part will not get assigned to y, because y is of integer type. Okay, like this type of a conversion takes place. This type of a conversions happening either automatically or explicitly are called typecasting, and depending upon the type of conversion happening, it is called either as implicit conversion or explicit type conversion. Okay, now before getting into further concepts, go through this program, students. Integer x is equal to 10, character y is equal to a. You want to recollect the concepts of ASCII value for each individual character of our English alphabet. I've told that this A or each and every individual alphabet in English sequence English alphabets will have their ASCII value corresponding to it. Not only alphabets, numbers, special characters, everything. So we have stored a character y variable with a single letter A. Okay. Now look at this statement. These are all the common statements. Double slash denotes these are all the common statements. It is given only for our understanding purpose. Okay. Now this is the executable next statement. X is equal to x plus y. What is the value of x? What is the value of x? 10. Okay. What is the value of y? What is the value of y? A. But we are trying to add that a. Look at here. We are trying to add the value of a with a number. Okay, with a number. Now, at the time of doing such addition, automatically our compiler will wake up and it will do automatic conversion of substituting its corresponding ASCII value in the place of a. The value of a small letter a ASCII value is 97. So this 97 plus 10 will get added up, and then this x will get the value of 107. Okay, x will get the value of 107. So when we are printing that value of x is equal to, in the place of %c, %d, we will get 107. Okay. Now look at the other one more instance of example given here. Float z is equal to x plus 1.0. This float z is a float data type, which means it will store its value with the fractions. Now with the fractions we have added a x, which means that is of integer type. Okay, integer plus 1.0. Okay, 10 plus 1.0 will get added, and by the addition of this we will get 11.0 as its result. So this 11.0 will get assigned to z, and that z will be printed in this place, that is 11 point. Since it is a float, certain compiler will allocate definitely 6 decimal positions. Certain compiler will allocate only 2 positions. Certain compiler will allocate only 4 positions after the decimal point. Okay, so this will be the output. So here, without our knowledge, our computer will not show any kind of error to us. Without our knowledge, automatically these kinds of implicit conversions will take place. So such conversions are called implicit conversions. Sir, when these are all allowed, or when this is permissible, how it is implicitly happening, or when it will show error to us? Yes, we need to understand that question. Okay, see, look at here. Take some example. Everybody knows about the volume of Tata Ace. Tata Ace, a small vehicle, no? Everybody knows the volume of it. Okay, and there is a some 8-wheel container lorry. 8-wheeler container. Okay, like this. The space of the container will be huge. Okay, the space of the container is huge. Assume, sir, I am trying to relate it to a real-time analogy. Okay, this is the volume of a Tata Ace vehicle, which can hold a somewhat considerable amount of vegetables or some amount of stock in it or products in it. Now, if we try to dump this into a container, happily the container will take its volume. Okay, it will not show any error, or it will not cry. It will not file any complaint to the police station. Okay, because its volume is lesser, so that it can accommodate the volume of the products of Tata Ace into the container. Okay, so such a type of conversions, whenever we have a data type like this, and whenever the smaller data types like this, and if we are trying to convert it into a higher volume of data, for example, x is 10, y is a smaller data type, we are adding with the higher data type. Okay, this Tata Ace is a smaller person, but container is a bigger person. We are trying to add the smaller person to a bigger person. So y is a smaller person, we are trying to add it with the bigger person. So implicitly they will not show any conflicts among them. Okay, smoothly they will accept, and then they will move forward. So similarly here, Z is a bigger volume, but with the bigger volume we are trying to add the smaller volume x integer. Okay, this integer can able to take its position in the float successfully. Okay, it will not show any kind of error, but it will show error if we try to create, or to like look at here, if we try to take this entire volume of products in the container, and if you try to put it inside the Tata Ace, will the Tata Ace will able to hold all the contents from the container? Is it possible? Maybe it is possible real time by running through many number of trips from source to destination. Tata Ace have to run through many number of times. Okay, that is a different story. So what I'm saying here is, as a whole, the full content of this container lorry cannot be dumped into a single small space of a Tata Ace vehicle. So whenever we are talking about the higher data type, from higher data type, we cannot make it to refine it to, or we cannot make it to assign it to a smaller data type like integer, or to a short. Okay, short is a data type smaller than integer. Okay, whereas a float is of 8 byte, whereas integer is of a 4 byte, and short is of a 2 byte. Okay, assume like this. Okay, why I am saying assume? It is the total sizes are entirely compiler dependent. Okay, but broadly speaking, this is the normal size of typical computer compiler size. Okay, data type size in the compiler. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, this 8 byte of data, if you try to dump it into 4 byte memory space, certain portion of a float data will get trimmed out, will get truncated. Okay, exactly this type of concept. 17.3, if you try to allocate it to a integer variable, this precision point, that after the dot decimal point, whatever we have, that gets trimmed out here, and the rest only will store here. Okay, so if you are trying to do such kind of a higher byte data size to a lower byte data type, then at such times we need to do some explicitly conversion. We need to do some explicit conversion that we will be learning in the next slide. Okay, so I hope you have understood certain things. Let's go forward. Look at here. If we have a data of long double, we can put it into, sorry, okay, in this way, this way. If we have a size of data type a double, we can dump it into this long double. Okay, because the size of a double is falling within this long double. Okay, it can accommodate, long double can accommodate the data type of size double. Similarly, float can be stored in double, and long double can be stored in float. So like this. Okay, long can be stored into a data type of float. So coming from the top, a bool value, that is a bool is a type of a data type. Okay, but naturally speaking, our C language will not straight away declare it, or it will not straight away accept it. Okay, character data type can be made to store in an integer can be made to store in an unsigned int, because each and every time the size of the data types keeps on increasing. So because of that, smaller data type size can be stored into the higher data type size. So when we do such kind of conversions in the expressions, automatically without our knowledge, conversions takes place. So since it automatically occurs, we say this as a implicit data type conversion. Fine, students. Okay, keeping this idea, we will move forward. So the explanations that I have given so far is explained here, done by the compiler on its own without any external trigger from the user. Generally takes place when an expression more than one data type is present. In such conditional type conversions takes place to avoid loss of data. So look at here, whatever we have seen in the previous slide is a diagram is shown here. That is, bool type can be made to accommodate into a character data type, and this character data type can be made to accommodate into a short int data type. So similarly this one. So it goes like this. Okay, fine. Now we will try to understand the meaning of explicit type conversions. Okay, sir, from small person to big person they will accept. How, sir? How we can make a big person to get accommodate with the small person? How to do? Yes, it is possible, but we need to do some, we need to mention here in just in front of the small person, we need to mention here, we need to do a explicit conversion. We need to do a explicit conversion. Look at here, lower data type will get assigned to higher data type very easily. But this way, that is from higher data type to lower data type, when we try to do, then we need to mention certain extra word here. That extra word mentioned within the brackets is nothing but data type which data type to which we need to try to convert. Okay, if I speaks like this, it is difficult for you to get the picture. Look at here. Okay, look at here, take the example double. Okay, double is assigned with the 1.2. okay, double, it is assigned with the 16 byte of data. Okay, 16 byte of data says data size it can accommodate. Okay, now this 1.2 we try to allocate it to a sum variable. Look at here, the sum is an integer type. So when we try to allocate this 16 byte of data into a integer which is of a 4 byte, if you try to do, definitely certain portion of data will get truncated. Okay, certain portion of data will get truncated. If we doesn't want our compiler to throw an error and want that truncation to be smoothly executed, then just in front of the variable of that float, what is this? It is a float double data type. Just in front of this, we need to mention that please convert this double data type into a integer. Okay, we need to make a bracket, and inside that bracket we need to mention the type to which we are trying to convert. This denotes that we are trying to convert this double into integer type so that it can successfully fit into this sum which is of integer type. Okay, this is just the addition of +1 with it. Okay, so we need to mention this explicitly, that is bracket, inside that bracket we need to mention this explicitly, only then it will work properly, otherwise it will show compilation error. Okay, so the syntax for doing such a kind of conversion is, we need to mention the target type to which we are trying to convert, and then from which expression we are trying to convert, that we need to mention. So this is the syntax. Okay, this process is also called typecasting, and it is user defined. User defined, which means we are defining what is the conversion type that has to take place. Here the user can typecast the result to make it of a particular depth, that is the expression may be of a higher data size and that can be converted to a smaller data type size, but at the time I need to mention what is the type size that I am trying to convert. Okay, so this is an important topic, maybe asked in the university exams, keep in mind. With this, we will move forward to the next topic called operators in C. Okay, of course this is a big topic to cover, and by the covering this topic, of course the 95% of your first unit will get over. Only one topic is left, that is storage classes. We will cover at the end of this operators in C. Okay, operators. Sir, what is this operator? Look at here. See, we have written sum is equal to a plus b. I have told this example that a is an operand. A is an operand, whereas this plus symbol is an operator. Sir, is it only plus is only available? Often you are taking only this example. See, I am taking this example to have you to make you feel, to have a clear picture, clear idea. Okay, so similar to this plus, there are many number of operators. C is said to have a rich set of operators. Okay, it has got a rich set of operators. So we will study starting from plus, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulo division, then ternary operator, assignment operator, then compound assignment. Okay, compound assignment, like this. In front of the plus, we need to write any of the multiplications or subtractions or modulo divisions, any number, any operators can be assigned in this place. So likewise, the length, the number of operators keeps on growing. we will take one by one under a suitable category and then we will study. Okay. For example, all these will be treated as an arithmetic operator because they basically help us to do the arithmetic operation. Okay. So similarly, the other operators are also helping us to do certain operations depending upon the type of operations they are helping us. They are given with a certain name. Okay. So we will study one by one. Look at here. The operators are according with respect to your syllabus. It is written in this place. In the syllabus, we have got the first operator to discuss is increment and decrement operator, then comma, arrow, assignment, bitwise, size of. Apart from this, there are also logical operator. Okay, logical operator, shift operator. Okay, shift operator, bitwise operator. Okay, comparison operator. Okay, comparison operator. Likewise, we have got so many number of operators which we will study first the contents that are present in the syllabus and then we will proceed to the contents beyond the syllabus. Okay. So to start with, we will begin our discussion upon this increment operator and decrement operator. Okay. I want you to pay much attention here. Slightly it will be confusing, but better don't see anything on this slide. You will look to the pointer which I am writing. Okay. Look at here. So far I have not introduced that concepts to you. Look at here. Let int, this is int. Okay, int, let's say x equal to 5. Okay, 5. Okay, now I want to increase this x by 1. So what I can write, x is equal to x plus 1. Simply I can write like this, or otherwise this can very shortly can also be written as simply x plus 2 times we need to write plus and then semicolon. That's all. The meaning for this x plus plus is the same meaning. X is added with 1. That's it. Okay. The moment we are declaring x is equal to 5, the moment we are initializing x with 5, automatically 5 will get stored in that location of x. Okay. The moment we are executing this line, automatically what happens? This 5 will get added with 1 and then its value will be renamed as 6. Okay. Either we can follow this method of incrementing x with 1 or otherwise this method. Okay. Most often you will find this method only will be in use in the programming languages. Okay, not only in C language, and this is available in almost all the languages, and this type of notation only you will be seeing in almost all the languages, that is x plus plus. Understanding this point, students? Okay sir, I have understood this. How will you do decrement by 1? Look at here, I am writing x equal to, I want x value to be decremented by 1. Either I can write like this or else I can also write x minus minus. Okay. The meaning for this is, previously assume that x value is 10 by this time, 10. Okay. Don't get confused with the previous writing. Okay. Now x value is 10. Okay. Let's put a line. Int x is equal to 10. Okay. Now I want, this is 10. Okay. Now I want x to be decremented by 1. So if this is the case, either I can write x is equal to x minus 1 or else simply I can write it as x minus minus. That's all. Okay. The meaning for this is x, the moment we declare it like this, it is assigned with the 10. The moment we execute x minus 1, it is subtracted by 1 and then it will become 9. The same thing is possible to be executed by writing the same instruction like x minus minus. That's it. Okay, simple. Okay sir, in both these places, look at here, in both these places we have used this plus symbol, only after the variable x. We have used the plus symbol only after the variable x. Why can't we use it before the x, or only we need to stick to plus only, minus only? Yes. If you are using plus, you need to use 2 times plus. If you are using minus, you need to use 2 times minus. Okay. Do not use like this one. Okay. X plus 4 plus 1 plus and 1 minus. You should not use this one. If you are using it, it becomes wrong. Please mute your mic. Mute your mic. Mute your mic. Okay. Okay. So what I was explaining is, in both these places, here as well as in the decrement also, we will say this is an increment operator and this is a decrement operator. In both these places, we have used after the variable. So this is called a post increment or post decrement. Okay, plus means increment, minus means 2 times minus means the decrement. So since these symbols are used after the variable, it is called post. Okay, so either it can be an increment or else decrement. Okay, and also I have told that we should not use one plus symbol, one minus symbol. It is meaningless. Okay, we should not use it. Okay, now similar to this mechanism of using this plus plus or minus minus after the variable, we can also use the same thing before the variable. Now let's take int a equal to 3. Okay, now I can increment this 3 by 1 by writing either a equal to a plus 1 or else r plus plus a. This is possible. This plus plus a also increments the a, that is 3 plus 1, and then it will add. Look at here, the moment we are initializing a with 3, a will get allocate a space in its memory, and then it is initialized with the value 3. Okay, the moment we are executing either of this statement, this 3 will get added with 1 and then 4 will get stored here. Okay, now similarly this is a increment. Now similarly we can also have int b is equal to 7. Okay, this can also be decremented like this, b equal to b minus 1, or otherwise, okay, we can write 2 times b, subtraction symbol, and then b. Okay, now what happens, the moment we are initializing b with 7, automatically 7 will get stored in its memory space, and the moment we are executing b is equal to b minus 1, this 7 will get decremented by 1 and then it will get stored with the 6. Okay, both the b as well as this, everything is looking like a 6 only. Adjust it, I should not have used b. Okay, so what I mean to say here, we can either use this plus plus in front of the variable or else plus plus after the variable. Similarly, we can use this minus minus in front of the variable or after the variable. If you are using before the variable, we will say this as a pre-increment or pre-decrement. Okay, increment or decrement. So similarly, if you are using this plus plus symbol after the variable, we will say that it is a post increment or post decrement. Okay, anyhow, the effect of the final value for that particular variable is same. Look at here, x is equal to 5. I am adding with the 1, so it get incremented to 6. Okay, similarly x is assigned with the 10. I am decrementing it, the value is 9. Okay, subtract 10 by 1, it will get 9. The same effect is happening here. We assumed a number of 7, we decremented it, we got 6. Okay, similarly we assumed a equal to 3, we incremented and we got the value as 4. See, the final value will remain same, but there is some small slight variation in that. Okay, in the intermediate step, no, when they are performing the incrementation or decrementation, at that time there is slight modification or a small concept is hidden inside, and that we will see in the coming next class. Okay, is it fine, students? Go through this entire slide, ask me doubts. Ask me doubts. Is it clear? Since I have written both the things in a single slide, whether any confusion? Basically what I have told, that increment, decrement, that incrementation can be applied after the variable or before the variable. Okay, the final result of the either incrementation or decrementation will be as per the logic. If we are doing a plus plus, the final value will get definitely incremented by +1. If you are using minus minus, irrespective of previous or prefix or suffix, always it will get decremented by 1. Okay, that is the concept. Fine. So due to this reason, we will say that the increment decrement falls under 4 categories like this. Okay, 4 categories like this. Okay, but there is some slight variations among all these